Today is Wednesday, October 11th, 2017. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Survivor Season 35, Episode 3.
Episode 3, Week 3. And this episode, which was a 2-day cycle only, was titled My Kisses Are Very Private, and that was spoken by Jessica. Thanks for joining us. This is our Wednesday night recap. We do 3 podcasts a week. Tomorrow we'll do an interview with the person that's voted out. And on Saturday we do the listener feedback show where we let you take over and share your thoughts, analysis, and predictions. But we lay the foundation with this show where we just recap what happened. Previously on Survivor, Probst tells us that at the Heroes Tribe, Alan aims at the power couple. At the Healers Tribe, Joe and Cole hunt for the idol and find it. At the Hustlers Tribe, Patrick and Simone are targets. Patrick makes a questionable remark at Tribal Council, but it ends up being Simone that goes home. And then we do something a little different. Normally, we come back to that tribe the night after, right after Tribal Council, when they get back to their camp, right? This time, it's very different. It's the next day.
The next morning, yeah.
And they're talking about how Simone left clothes, and they're trying on her clothes.
Yeah, which tells you she really did believe she was safe, that she didn't take her stuff with her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, didn't suspect it. So we see both Allie and Patrick trying on her pants and her shirt.
I bet she was at home having a fit.
Just laughing, yeah. She's probably going nuts on Twitter tonight, yeah. Ryan even tried on her boots, which tells you something about Ryan's physical stature, that he was able to wear Simone's boots.
Yeah. They fit him quite well, seemed to.
He said they had a couple of distinct advantages, added some height to help him be a little taller, and then gave him protection from crabs.
Well, and bugs and anything else, probably, and keep his feet warm. At night, though sleeping in them doesn't sound very good, but...
So we see Allie and Lauren go off to clean up in the water, and Patrick and Ryan have a quick conversation, and Ryan's asking Patrick, which one's next to go or which one's next to stay. Basically, he asked it in a nice ambiguous way, though, and Patrick said, Allie, keep Allie, he then adds.
Mm-hmm. That's smart, though, that Ryan is asking Patrick.
He kept it open, too.
Mm-hmm. Instead of telling.
And he let Patrick be the one who got specific. Yeah, like that part. Okay, so Lauren and Allie head off to the water, and they have that same question. Who's going to be next? And Lauren tells us, so they're cutting in between those two talking, and Lauren's confessional, and Lauren's telling us that she feels like she's on the outs, and she's having to work really hard for inclusion.
Yeah, she's trying to fit in, and yet you will see her just walk away from the group and go do something when they're all sitting around in a circle.
Yep, definitely.
Which is something they tell you don't do.
But sometimes you got to go off on.
I know. Sometimes
so
you
can't really help that.
Yeah. Well, she was just going to rinse off, but
that came a little later. So while they're having their conversation there, Lauren decides to focus on Patrick some more and make sure the target's clearly on his back.
Yep. She brings up what he said.
Yeah.
About trusting some of the people.
Everybody seems to agree that made him uncomfortable. She sees Devon on the beach and invites him over to join her and Allie, and then eventually Patrick and Ryan come up there too, where they're all gathered, and Patrick informs us that there is an octopus right there in the water beside them all.
If he says so.
Yeah.
Almost looked like a little tiny rock or something.
Well, that's definitely the impression that you're given.
Well, Allie was questioning her, alliance. She's done that a lot, question her alliance with Patrick.
Patrick has caused her to ask this question multiple times.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that she knows he's good in challenges and stuff, but that he's just rubbing people the wrong way.
Yep.
And he doesn't censor what he says, I think, is probably the biggest thing. And he doesn't know how to react when people say things to him. It's like he doesn't quite know how he's supposed to respond.
I think what we get to see in his reaction is all relative to where he believes that person is in the pecking order. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think he's acting that way with the guys.
Not with the guys, because he's very confident.
And I don't think he's acting that way with Allie.
Or he was very confident that the guys were a threesome and that they were tight.
Okay, let's bounce over to the Heroes Tribe. We get to see Alan struggling with a coconut. It tells us it takes him 30 minutes to open one coconut, and he informs us that he is really not in his element. So he was initially there to play Survivor, but now he's telling us, I play in the NFL. I'm not suited to this.
No, I think that was just a kind of a waste of a space myself.
Which the editors, you're not usually that openly critical of casting. That's usually my job.
Yeah, but
he does seem to be, exactly like you said, out of his element. It's hard to see what his value in the context of the game is right now.
We had a conversation earlier, and that was something that came out that I said. So it was just kind of right there on my tongue.
Okay. Kind of like Patrick. No filter. I got you.
Yep, sometimes.
So really, we're over at the Heroes Tribe for a contrast. So first we see Alan struggling with coconuts, and then we see JP speared another fish. Ashley tells us that JP is just becoming dreamier and dreamier, and he's the provider. But she can't talk to him because of Alan. And
so we better get rid of Alan.
Alan needs to go because she needs to talk to JP. Yeah, she's missing those conversations with Mr. Dreamy.
Mm-hmm. The best thing for her game is to be moved away from JP.
Yeah, it would be good if she could focus. Her and Jessica seem to be having similar issues.
Well, they just kind of got their focus on a hot guy, and that's kind of and the fact that he's providing for her and feeding her.
Even though it's not much. Ben commented on, hey, you got another little fish. But according to Ashley, it's a big one. I skipped over that first part, which is Chrissy and Ben still think that they're doing pretty well.
That bothers me.
They're telling each other, hey, we got options. This is good. We're in the best position possible.
And they need to work with us. How low can we say two? Two people. I hate it when people act like they're the majority at two when there's 5 people in the game.
I think there's a balance here too, though, because you got to build up your alliance partners, and you got to reaffirm that. So I wouldn't read too much into that at this point, at this stage in the game. And like they said, they've got options, so
they do have options.
It's more than just the two. They get to pivot to the win, basically. So I don't think it's unfounded in their claims in that regard. And the reason we get the contrast is they're trying to decide who's next, JP or Alan. They say Alan's a hothead and JP's clueless, but he's providing some food.
Clueless is good. Clueless and works, provides perfect.
Ashley has a conversation with Ben, which basically makes Ben uncomfortable.
I think that hurt Ashley more than it helped anything. Because it made him mistrust her.
What Ben tells us, is that Ashley's just pulling for JP really hard, and that's making him suspicious. He gave her every clue she needed to back off and to play along, but she didn't seem to pick up on it. Because Ben described JP as a puppy that can be led around, and her response is, yeah, you're right, we can lead him. He's like, no, anyone can lead him. You're missing the bigger risk. So I don't know if she's going to wake up to that or not. But she definitely has re-aroused his suspicions of her. Okay, over at the Healers Tribe, Cole and Jessica getting ready to take out the boat. And Joe tells us that he is cool and collected, and he knows Mike's the one to go if...
Yep, he's got everybody convinced. The vote out's Mike.
And he's got Mark ready. He's got Mike ready to go, but he's also watching Cole because Cole's got dangerous knowledge.
He's concerned about Cole and Jessica too.
Cole and Jessica are off to go fish some more
with good reason.
I don't pay a lot of attention to the hashtags, the Twitter stuff that they put on the show to pander to social media, but I did like Slug in Love.
I didn't even see it.
In regards to Jessica. Yeah. Well, Jessica tells us she knows that couples are dangerous, But she's working really hard at being a couple and furthering that endeavor.
And the only time they get to be alone is when they go fishing.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, that's a recipe for disaster. They might get saved if they get split, too.
On the whole, I just continue to be more and more disappointed with her gameplay.
Yeah, really, she still reminds me of like a 13 or 14-year-old teenager.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a nurse practitioner. I expected her to be, very different.
We've been down this road before.
I know, but
okay, so
it's sweet, but it's not Survivor.
So they're laying on the beach having a discussion, and Cole tells her, "I guarantee you that you are safe because I've got some information." And then he goes on to tell her that Joe has an idol, and he decides that she is a dream girl. And that got him a hug and a kiss as they were laying down on the beach.
Well, and he could not hardly wait to tell her, it seemed like, that he's like, he was hitting around it, but he's like, no, I have to tell.
And she's just tickled pink, so she tells us that now she has power because she knows this secret, and he has chosen to share it with her. Mm-hmm. He trusts her. And this is when she gives us the title about the kissing, and now she doesn't give away kisses easily, so...
Yep, she got a secret on Joe. Okay, let's go over to the Hustlers. Ryan thinks Pat's going off and looking for the idol.
Mm-hmm. Which he is.
And the other people are observing that too.
He tells us, Patrick tells us that he has...
I am looking.
Idol fever, and I don't care if they know I'm looking. And that tells you just about everything you need to know about Patrick's game.
That's right.
And Allie comments in a confessional and says, Patrick's just got no social game. He really needs to chill.
But she's trying to help him.
Oh, she even goes to the point of sharing that with him to try to get him to back off after Ryan reacted to it, and then you could see the others seeing him. What did you think of his responses of, she's just trying to help me, and I help her, but then he's like, but it's, she's like trying to dampen my personality, and it was a scorpion in the frog moment for sure.
Yeah, I was like, I
gotta be me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's definitely.
How can I do that if I'm not mean?
He's the scorpion that's going to sting the frog that's helping him across the river so that they both die. He's absolutely going to shoot himself and anyone allied with him, in the foot if given the opportunity. That's our big takeaway here.
Well, kill or be killed.
You're just saying stuff off the top of your head tonight, huh? Okay, Healers Day 8. Because you're okay with that, because you got to be you.
I am. I got to be me.
You definitely have similar philosophies, don't you? That's what we're discovering as we go through this.
Mm-hmm. Okay, back over to the Healers. Joe complains a lot.
Roark's cooking, and he is not enjoying that cooking. Looked like Desi was in on the cooking too,
because
she was a little offended at him throwing away the food that he thought was raw.
Too.
Yeah,
and that he didn't at least offer it to somebody else who wanted it, and especially after they took the time and trouble to cook it and offer it to him. Yep. I thought that was terribly disrespectful.
Gold tells us Joe sure complains a lot. He has power, and I don't like it. Mm-hmm. So okay, good on you, Cole. You completely goofed in making sure that he had an idol, but at least you're focusing
you could have had it all to yourself, though. I'm not sure he could have even kept that quiet.
Oh, he would have told Jessica either way. Yeah. Whoever had it, he was going to tell. Cole's not somebody who's going to keep a secret. I think we've learned that today.
Don't tell him your secrets. Yeah. And then he just decides out of the blue to sit there with Jess and Roark and tell him, hey.
Well, before that, he makes the pitch to Jessica. Hey, we can blindside him. She said, yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing last night. That's what we should probably do. And then, he goes on to blurt it out to Roark and to Desi, who ends up hearing it too.
Well,
and this is where there's like a little ray of sunshine on Jessica, I guess. She's annoyed. I think she's miffed, probably because he shared the secret with two other women. But
without consulting
her, yeah.
Or tell anybody or do anything without.
It gives her pause about him, and I think that's a good sign for her.
I think she thought she was in a bigger power position over him than she really is.
Well, she got to have that secret with him, and now she can't. So, yeah, it
And
doesn't have the power.
It's not their secret anymore.
Right.
Either. And I guess the only one that doesn't know, as far as we know, is Mike, who was just non-existent in this episode pretty much.
Now, at this point, I'm still pretty hopeful. This might be the peak of my hopefulness, actually, because I had Jessica to go.
Oh, yeah.
I figured the healers were going to end up losing this challenge, and somehow that was going to backfire, because Joe had an idol, and I thought Joe was going to get wind of it. He was just good enough that he was going to know, and he was going to be able to run a backfire play on Jessica. But anyway, at this point, I'm very hopeful. And you, where were you? You weren't so much, right? Or
Oh, no, I had Lauren going.
Mm-hmm.
So, we weren't even
wasn't
in the
really
same
near
ballpark.
her. Right.
Nope.
Okay.
No, I actually wasn't even thinking about it, that you had her to go. You told me before it started, but...
Well, I commented along the way, too.
Yeah, well,
Okay, it's day 8. It's time for the community challenge, which is also a combo with reward. The first tribe to finish gets 4 chickens, a rooster, and 3 hens, who have already supplied, Probst tells us, a dozen eggs, which the second tribe to finish will get.
Sure, that sounds great about now.
And no one seems surprised that Simone is gone when Probst announced that when they come in for the challenge. Okay, so they got some obstacles. They got to go over, under, and they got to work as a team to climb up, to get everybody up on a big net, and then they got to knock the blocks off of I don't know, what is that, a shelf, an arch? Not really an arch. It's not arched.
No, but it's a...
I guess it's essentially a shelf, a narrow shelf that's up fairly high, and they got to throw sandbags to knock those blocks off, and then they have to go stack the blocks. And I noticed that there was a little wooden platform to stack the blocks on, and some of the blocks are bigger than the others too. So all this is going to factor in, because I was thinking, that would be interesting if it was just sand. Then you could anchor it really well. You could bury some potentially. So that could have been I was thinking about this strategy, and then I was like, oh, okay, it's sitting on a little wooden platform, so none of that's necessary. Okay.
Well, and here's the reason, because we had talked about this. They showed the preview of the challenge, so it's kind of like, who could do this? And I thought, truthfully, every single tribe had multiple people that could do this. Mm-hmm. Alan and JP could lift any of the others up to, get up tall enough to stack it 20 blocks high. Cole and Joe could lift any of the girls, and Devon and Patrick could lift Ryan. All 3 are really tall, so I thought, they have a good chance. But I wasn't going to choose them.
Ryan's not tall.
But Ryan's fairly tall.
No.
Well, whatever.
Ryan fit in Simone's clothes.
He's taller than the girls.
Simone's clothes were bigger. He fit in her boots, but her clothes were bigger than him.
Well, anyway, my thinking was, I just kept having this feeling that they were going to do something spastic and knock it over or something.
Okay.
That's the reason I thought, but they really have the equipment, these tall guys, and they could easily reach up, and do the stacking.
Made it challenging
but then I thought,
to guess.
I still think somebody's going to do something spastic. I was wrong, of course, but that nonetheless,
okay,
that's why I chose them. And then for me, it was choosing between Patrick and Lauren. And I thought, well, of course, they'll keep their tribe stronger and vote off Lauren.
There we go. There's
Wrong
Joanne's
again.
logic. The healers choose to sit out Mike, and the challenge gets started. The heroes end up being the first ones up over the net. Everybody gets through the over-under obstacle relatively similar. The heroes did really well getting up over the net and getting to the next part so they could start throwing the blocks. But eventually, everybody catches up. And was it Ben and JP? We end up seeing them throw for the heroes. And
Cole, Pat, and Ben threw first.
Cole, I think, he threw all of them for the healers, didn't he? We didn't see. No, we saw Joe.
No.
Joe ended up throwing for them. And then it was Patrick who hogged it all for the hustlers. And he ends up setting his tribe way back in the challenge, because he won't swap out.
Yeah, Ben and JP threw, and Cole and Joe threw, and then just Patrick.
You just repeated what I said.
Oh, I didn't think you said JP, so I was going to clarify.
Okay. All right, so the healers get through the throw first, then the heroes, and Patrick is stuck back there hogging it, and the hustlers end up being way in the back. Healers finish their stack.
Oh, that was terrible. They ran back. Oh, we won, we won.
Then
And you could see it when he said something. You could see the block back there.
That they had all run by, right? Then Probst tells them, no, you got a problem. So they did really good getting it, and but they goofed. And the heroes end up finishing first. And then the healers come back and recover. The hustlers, because of Patrick, are so far behind, they don't ever really get any momentum in the stack going. They get the big blocks down, but I don't even think they started on the smaller ones.
Well, you could tell when they were showing Patrick throw toward the end, he wasn't even getting it there. You could tell his arm was giving out because when he would throw, it was even too low. It wasn't up high enough. It didn't even reach. I don't know why somebody didn't just snatch him out the way and get up there and do something.
Yeah, I wonder what the options are on
Why not
that.
Devon? You would have thought he could throw good, and I mean, who knew Lauren could throw? But
Well, evidently she told them that,
yeah,
and they were saying it while they were standing there, although we didn't get to hear that at the time.
yeah.
Okay, so the hustlers are going to be headed to Tribal again, and Probst asks Patrick how he's feeling, and Patrick's like, yeah, it's pretty depressing, and Lauren says, well, we're going. Got to do it.
Yeah, Patrick's like, we all like each other, and it's just going to be tough.
And that's where we get to hear Lauren say that. That's where we get to hear it the first time, where she says that she had played center field for 25 years, and she can hit the catcher in the forehead from out there with a throw. So, okay, headed to the Hustlers tribe. We get some nice whale song, our second whale clip there of the episode. And still day 8. It is only a 2-day cycle here. And Patrick apologizes. Sorry, guys, he says.
It wasn't throwing fast enough. It's like, no, you weren't throwing accurately enough because your arm was tired.
And he's very clear that Lauren is not happy with him.
Well, at least he said, well, I should have let someone sub for me. It's like it was a team effort.
Yeah, they
Patrick.
make it clear for him. Lauren, this is where Lauren isolates. Like you said, she goes to rinse off. And at that point, Allie, Ryan, and Devon assure Patrick that it's Lauren that's going to be going tonight.
Yep.
So you're pretty happy? Reason to be optimistic that you're
Oh, no.
picked.
As
You're
soon
going
as
to
the
get points?
episode started and they were pointing at Lauren, I said, oh, geez, that's not good news for me.
Okay.
Because they do that, and then it's not them. So, no, from the very first scene where they did that and pointed the finger at her, I went, oh, no.
Patrick tells us that he's going to go make sure that she doesn't feel like she's the target, but he just completely, totally train wrecks this and botches it. He's going to let her know that she's still included, but she busts his chops pretty hard.
Yeah. I don't think he knew what to do, at least from what they showed us. He didn't appear to know what to do with her directness of, no, I know you're voting for me. He wasn't prepared to talk about it.
I'm not sure the editors weren't playing a little game with us here.
True.
Too,
Could be.
because he gets that goofy grin and he looks completely ineffective, but she's also making these quips about him being a redhead, and just because he's a redhead that he can't be trusted and that he's a liar and all that.
I don't know
and
where
so,
that
yeah,
comes from.
Yeah, you don't know the whole thing about distrust of gingers?
No, just that they have tempers, but who doesn't?
Well,
No, I
the
don't.
joke is that they have no souls.
But that's stupid.
It's just a thing.
Yeah.
Gingers redheads have always been
ignored
isolated.
it. It's a stupid thing.
Okay, sure.
I don't do stupid things.
Any case. Yeah. Oh, you don't do stupid things. Wow, that's interesting. Okay.
I didn't say I didn't perform stupid
somehow
things.
I wasn't aware of that.
I just didn't go along with stupid things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was not a go along with the crowd kind of
I see.
person. I went the way I wanted to.
Well, in spite of all that and how Patrick botched the supposed to be comforting of her to make her not worry that it was her, complete knucklehead, thinking
Yeah,
he
it'd
was
be
going to
good to
pull
hear
this
his
off.
side of it,
Yeah,
and
Lauren tells
how
us
that was
that
portrayed.
she's not giving up, and Allie's asking herself, "Is there a reason to keep him? Because man, he's a mess."
Well, I didn't think she did herself any favors when she told Ryan, well, you're the oddball and I'm the old woman. I thought, why would you say that to him? You're sounding more like Patrick's social game now.
It reaffirms what we've sort of scoped out for her all along, that she just doesn't have, even though she knows it, she's got almost no social game. That seems like an obvious thing not to do, like you're saying, and yet she thought that was a perfectly reasonable thing to say to Ryan. And it didn't occur to her there might be another way to have that conversation that would have been more inclusive and supportive between the two of them, and potentially strengthened an alliance that was in question.
I didn't think that was handled very well, though.
She completely blundered it.
She did scramble.
It's like between the two of them, we get to see more of his blunders, but I'm not sure that she wasn't tracking him one for one out there.
So were you surprised that Devon said, well, I'd rather go to the merge with Lauren?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
No, I wasn't either.
That was definitely a surprise. He tells us that she's steady but doesn't fit in, and will likely lose more challenges with her, but that's his feeling when he and Brian are trying to figure out what to do.
Well, I'm assuming that they've been sitting around talking about when are we going to get a swap, and what are they going to do? Are they going to switch up the 3 tribes? Or are they going to take us down to 2 tribes? When do we think this is going to happen? Mm-hmm. You would think with the time that they have, they would be discussing some of this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's where that was coming from.
Certainly.
Some of their discussions about.
Certainly Ryan and Allie are thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're having open discussions about survivor strategy or survivor timelines and how to plan for certain things, then yes.
And could they trust Patrick to keep their secrets private, quiet? I'd have to give that one to Lauren, probably.
Yep.
But I don't know. I just don't. I don't think Patrick was very self-aware or really clued into what was going on around him.
It seems like Lauren's only barely, maybe a little more, if that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't know. Okay, Lauren tells us before they go to tribal council, though, that she's going to fight to the end. So good on you. Always appreciate that. To tribal council, Lauren confirms that there's definitely something not working in this tribe.
And it is not a one-man show.
Right.
Let's get that
Patrick
out front.
really goofed up throwing the sandbags at the blocks to knock them off the shelf there.
Well, Patrick did his best, and he was comforted that he wasn't going to be held 100% responsible for it.
That threw me a little when Allie said that. So I like that Patrick was saying, I understand. I get what you're saying. I goofed it. I understand. I can fix it, is what's implied, although we didn't necessarily get to hear him say that. And Allie says that, that he's doing good for acknowledging these things, and that provides comfort to Patrick, which that was interesting. That was she's taken that deception to another level. You can start to understand a little bit because she's signaling to him he's okay. That's what he's going to take away from that. So I think she was taking that gameplay to another level there in making sure that he didn't see it coming.
Well, and Lauren points the finger again about, I've not been looking for an idol, but maybe I should, since Patrick certainly thinks he needs one, and he's been looking.
And Patrick says, well, he's happy she isn't looking for an idol.
He's still feeling confident and safe at this point.
Yep.
But they said a lot of things when Ryan started talking about different stuff, and Allie, they really were pointing the finger, kind of, at that, he was going home. Now, it could have just been a mislead, so I didn't read 100% into that was fact, but he should have gotten a little nervous, and I don't know if he did.
We see Lauren decide to get another jab in, and she says, once again, I've never believed a redhead.
Well, yeah.
And we get the funny comic relief when Probst starts one of his questions within a relationship, and Ryan says, never been in one.
Never been in one.
Got one,
got
one you're thinking of for me?
And Ryan points out that we need the social people with us at the merge.
Yep.
Not necessarily the physical challenge people. We need the social people.
And then Devon chimes in, we need some chemistry to keep rolling. Ryan says we got to be thinking about that merge. And then Patrick tells us, well, I'm one of these people who can just talk the best, and I can get people to love me.
I can make people feel loved
Yeah.
and comfortable. And everybody reacted, seemed like.
Where's
I
that?
reacted. I was like, what? Well, we haven't seen that. You may be able to do that.
Allie
But nobody
busted
showed
him
us
hard
that.
on that, right? Really? So I get that's your opinion, but how come you can't get along with Lauren? It's
Yeah,
like he
why haven't
opened the
you got
door
along with her?
and she drove a truck through it.
Yeah. And she kind of acted really angry. I think she kind of was angry because she thought she could
You did all
bring him
this.
in,
You
but
caused this to happen.
I
You-
can't trust you, and I'm going to have to let you go.
Right. You caused me all this extra grief and energy.
He did come back, though, and just say, well, I think that's maybe when he got a little
Clued in.
suspicious.
Yeah.
And said, well, this is a wake-up call for me.
I welcome
I've
this
learned."
criticism.
Oh,
That was a
yeah.
good thing to say. I
Yeah,
like that.
was good. That was a good comeback. And why do you think Ryan said that they were the only tribe that will have real tribe unity?
Because they've been tested by tribal council twice.
Well, the other
And
one's been
potentially that
once.
you ask a question, I'm answering it.
Okay.
And they have been tested by tribal council more than the other tribes. The healers don't have a clue, and the heroes went once, and it was a unanimous thing. So it's a pretty good assessment on his part, even though he doesn't know what's going on in the hero side.
And then we have the vote.
Yep,
I was surprised.
that was too. I thought Lauren was
I
going to
thought
go.
they were just, heading us off in another direction. And even though they sounded like it was Patrick, I wasn't believing
thought
it.
the
And I
back
thought,
and-
hey, I might get a point.
The back and forth went pretty well. And yeah, usually the person who gets focused on the most isn't the one that's going. But they got me on this one for sure.
Yeah.
Patrick got the majority of the votes,
they
and
got
he was
him,
gone.
too.
Yep, he was scowling, and his comment after.
You guys are awful.
Yeah,
Well, and he didn't have nice things to say about him. After that, that's the worst he had ever felt. He wishes them a terrible game. This is just devastating.
Mm-hmm.
I think he probably in that moment was like, they just stole my $1 million.
yeah, he was definitely a
Took
bitter,
it right out of my hand.
bitter loser,
Well, yeah.
and calls him out for lying to him. Probst tells us that this signals the rebirth of this tribe. Not for long.
Yeah. Next on Survivor.
Right, drop your buffs. It's time to shuffle.
Just when you think you're on the top.
So what do you think? Is it going to be? Is it going to be 3 of 5?
I think so. I think they'll
It's
stay.
most likely.
Yes, I think they will stay at 3. They'll just balance them out at 5 each. Restart. And
You think they'll do 2 cycles
Juggle
with
the
the 3
buffs
of 5s before they go to the merge? Because they're going to be coming down to merge time for too long.
yeah, they probably will do a couple,
Okay.
at least a couple episodes, and then So they're at
15 right now.
At 15 right now. So if they went down
Next
to
cycle
13,
they'll go to 14.
they could go
13.
to 2 tribes at 13, and then they usually
That seems unlikely.
They usually
13.
merge,
12, yeah.
do the merge around 13,
Right.
but there's 2 less people this time,
Right.
so they may take it on down and
Could
do
go to
it
12.
2 tribes, and then a couple weeks later go to 1 to really keep them hopping.
Yeah.
So I don't know, or they could just go from 3 right
Most likely
to a merge.
3 teams of 5 in the next cycle, though, right?
Yeah, I think so. Otherwise, it wouldn't be even.
So I think the big questions then become what we'll be watching for is what happens to Ben and Chrissy, right? What happens to Ashley and JP? What happens to Jessica and Cole? Where does Joe and his idol end up? He's the only one, still the only one at this point, who has an idol. So will someone else find an idol? Those are big questions for next time, right? Are we gonna get to see the heroes and the hustlers find an idol before they shuffle, or is it going to be afterwards?
Is Joe going to end up with
With
2 idols?
Yeah, there you go. Because he knows he and Cole are the ones that know what to look for. Yeah. So what's going to happen to Cole and Jessica? Mike's the low man on his tribe, so is he going to get some kind of reprieve? And then you've got
Yeah, I hope so. I hope to see more of him.
Ryan and Devon. Are they going to get to stick together? Are they going to get split up? Something to watch for. And where's Allie's power? Where's her big connection at this point?
I think
Who's her strongest ally? It's not clear.
I'm not sure who's
because she's
the
got
strongest.
everybody coming to her.
She's got everybody. I think everybody's
she's
my
the pivot.
ally. So,
Yeah. So
Well, and
is
Ryan
she,
does too, though.
Is she going to get a do-over, or
Or as Devon says, he likes it that everyone's coming to him and Ryan. So he's including himself in that. But yeah, I don't know.
These will all be interesting things to watch for in the shuffle next week. So we're going to get to see some idols before then, or yeah.
And the cycle has been broken. Roark did not go home.
Yep.
So
there we go.
That's the way it is.
Yeah, predictive analytics aren't always right, so I'm sure Paul will tweak it, and we'll get to see the next pattern here shortly. Anything else you'd like to add? What did you think about the episode overall?
I enjoyed it. Yeah. I remember it got done, and I thought, I lost the point, but I'm so excited. They got me. They really shocked me and surprised me.
Yeah,
even at the end of the episode, I was like, yes, that's worth losing the vote off for.
Yeah, definitely.
Is to just be that, like, wow, they got me.
How about an update on the Fantasy League on the JSFL?
I can do that. There are 2 people tied for first place right now. Nice. DSR and Jody.
Wow.
9 people lost their USB. 65 people earned a vote-off point. 45 people lost a save point. I was none of those.
I lost a save point. I had Patrick safe.
You
I wanted to get another point off him. Once I figured out the healers were going to lose, I was like, let me get a point off this wackadoodle before he ends up going.
All
that
right.
backfired.
Okay, for the side challenge, first place with 16, Jody.
All right.
With 14, Nina. 13, Parker and Jeremiah. With 12 points, Brandon, Cold Mike, Drew, Kitty Cat, and Rick. And tied for last place with 11 points, Iron Dave, James and Shannon, Jonathan, and Stacy.
Yes, that hurt. Only getting 3 points sent me to the basement.
Oh.
Very supportive tonight.
Hey, after all the grief you gave me last week for losing a safe point, you had me losing one tonight. Oh, well, we both only got 3 points. I said, how do you figure that? Because I didn't get the vote off. You said, well, didn't you have Patrick safe? I'm like, no.
So I just thought you had him safe.
I know, but I did not. Okay, anything else you want to cover?
No, I'm looking forward to hearing what the other superfans thought of this episode. Feedback is due Saturday noon Pacific time. You can send that to the email, joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. You can call the voicemail line, 206-350-1547. There's a toll-free number also, if you need that, 844-643-8737. You can always record the audio yourself. That's how you get the best audio submission, and you cancel out some of those challenges that we have with the voicemail sometimes, and then just send that as an attachment. If you write it up, Joanne or I'll read it into the show for you. And we always love getting to hear your perspective, getting to see the episode filtered through your life experience and additional insights that you may have, given that we've done the big, broad recap for you. So that leaves you a lot of room to focus and make sure to keep that in that 3-minute range, whether it's written or recorded.
Wow, that's impossible to, predict right now who's going to go next week. You have no idea who's going to be where.
Well, you got some people who stand out, though, even despite all that.
Would be annoying.
Yep.
Wherever he is.
Potentially JP. He's been highlighted so that's for the heroes, is likely next ones to go. On the healers,
they'll keep him.
You've got Mike. He's been told that he's, we've seen him say that he's on the bottom, and we're not getting to see a lot from him and being able to work. So I guess just as an aside, we're hoping, because you and I are both enjoying Mike, and we hope to see more of him. We hope that somehow the shuffle is really beneficial for him, that he gets a second
in a better
chance.
Alliance, and
yeah, because he doesn't appear to have anything going for him right now.
Okay, so what do you think?
No, I need to finish what I was saying. Let me finish this point. In terms of who could potentially go, well, there's some animosity towards Joe, but Joe has an idol. You got the goofiness with Cole and Jessica. And then on the Hustlers tribe, the big standout is Lauren. So any of those people could easily go. I think if you had to order them, you probably got, Lauren, Mike, then Alan, then JP, then Jessica and Cole.
I don't think JP would be in jeopardy, even though they were batting that back and forth. I don't think they would go that route, because he's really not playing.
Well, that's why we put
the
Allen
game.
ahead of him. Yeah, but that also means you can't count on him.
Well, if he's loyal at all to anyone, then just tell me what to do when it's time, and okay, otherwise I'm going to go fish.
But what did Ben say?
I don't know. What did Ben say?
Ben said he would do that with anyone.
Maybe. Yeah.
Whoever
he may
dangles
follow
it
anyone,
in front of
but
him, right?
Maybe.
Ben's saying he's basically a windsock. Whichever the wind blows last, that's the direction he'll go in.
They're probably going to want to get him out before the merge. I would. But I'd keep him around as long as possible just to feed me. So.
Yeah, we've seen that in the past where there's someone that's in a provider role, but it turns out they're not really providing a whole lot. Yeah. So it's not actually really difficult to let go of him either. He seems like he might be in that role right now, unless you're Ashley, who's decided that he's dreamier and dreamier.
The girl is not busy enough.
Yeah. Her and Jessica.
Need to give her some more chores to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they are cute. I didn't expect Ashley to be. Well, I really didn't expect either one of them to be the kind of giddy girl thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because now we know why Ashley's a lifeguard and only likes to hang out with the guys.
Right.
But she was just kind of she's more comfortable with the guys, but she's pretty giddy over JP.
And what she shared in her confessionals, yes, that certainly seems to be the case. I think Lauren's going to continue to struggle regardless of where she lands. She's kind of like Mike. She needs to be somewhere where they want him.
I would think Lauren's biggest opportunity would be to get in with someone a little older who thought she would be really loyal with them and, keep her close as a number.
So you're basically saying she needs to end up in an alliance with Ben and Chrissy.
That would be a good place for her.
I think that's what you described. That is the older contingent and Mike.
Well, or with Mike and Desi or
there
Mike
you go.
and Roark.
Lauren, Mike, Ben, and Chrissy.
Yep.
You don't necessarily want them on a tribe. They're not going to win challenges potentially, but at some point you would want them to be able to form an alliance if you were cheering for them.
Mm-hmm. I really don't think we know anything at all about where Desi and Roark stand. I don't know that they're against Mike.
Still question marks.
I think they would certainly let Joe think that, but I'm not certain that they are against Mike. That's just what Joe says.
Yeah, Desi and Roark continue to be a mystery.
Yes.
We're not getting any substance from them at all.
Nothing.
Other than Desi's been really great in challenges, and Roark's had some minor highlights.
We get very little from JP, but we've really gotten even less.
He gets featured, but it's not him given the feature.
Yeah, no. They're showing him doing his thing.
I think, though, that's just a reflection of where he is in the game. He doesn't offer a lot to the game, is what the editors are telling us. In the context of the social component and the strategy and all that, I mean, he's obviously doing well in challenges and he's catching fish.
I've altered my way of thinking that Roark could be a player.
Yeah, I can't tell if Roark and Desi are like dark horse.
Yeah, we just hadn't seen enough
players. Yeah, for some reason they're getting a purple Kelly.
Just the fact that they didn't go off on Joe for throwing the food they cooked away was. I'll give them points for that.
That's the most we got to see of either one of them. Roark saying and Desi saying, "Well, you can cook."
Well,
they both said that. I think
Roark also it seems like there was something that she implied she wasn't totally sold on getting Mike out first. I kind of thought I remembered something, but I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and look that up. But
you're saying in an extra video?
No.
In this episode?
In the episode. I thought there was something where
I missed it.
I remembered thinking, I'm not sure she's really sold on getting Mike out first. Well, yeah, I want Joe to go. I mean, there's...
The blind side would have been interesting.
Him again. I almost let that ride just for Joe.
Joe's our villain. He's going to be here a while. And he may become doubly powerful next time. It'll be even harder to get rid of him.
He'd make a good villain. Alan, I thought he might at first, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure Alan's going to stick to it enough. I think
Alan actually...
He might want to go
gave
home.
Us the first exactly. He gave us the first glimpse of a quitter. So
it's kind of like, wait a minute.
He may not openly quit, but it may be an engineered quit at some point with him.
Yeah. And the whole struggle with the coconut or...
Which is it's just a metaphor. It's him struggling overall.
Right.
Right. That was just a way of saying this guy is struggling, and he's letting us know he's changed his view, is what the editor showed us. It was, I'm playing Survivor. Now it was, I play for the NFL, which before he had said, I may be retired from the NFL. I went out on an injury, and I didn't go back, so...
Well, is it just me, or did he look like he'd lost a lot of muscle?
I think that's just you. I don't
I thought
absolutely
he'd lost
do
muscle.
not think on day 7 that he looked like he had lost.
Maybe I hadn't
a
looked
lot
at his
of
legs
muscle.
before. His
Yeah.
legs look kind of skinny.
Nah, you're projecting again.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But
He may
I
not have been a
couldn't
big
swear
fan
to
of
it.
leg day to begin with, but I don't think
Well,
he's lost a lot of muscle mass
I
in
just
7
after
days.
the very first episode, I wasn't a big fan
It
of
doesn't.
Alan or
It doesn't
Joe.
work. Our bodies don't work that way.
Yeah.
Just because he's not eating a lot doesn't mean that he's immediately losing muscle mass. That catastrophic theory for how our bodies work is just
Well,
incorrect.
then maybe he just has skinny legs.
Yeah, he just wasn't a fan of leg day. Okay, anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
Nope, let's wrap it up.
Have a good one.